When I toured the country and drove 12,000 miles and interviewed America's greatest marriages, literally hundreds of couples who have been married over 40 years, there was one quote that always stood out to me, and that is a couple who had been married 55 years, and one of them was a minister, and he said, some people spell love Love, but love, it should be spelled Give. It's about giving, that love isn't a feeling, love is an action. Love is how you're giving to one another. But what happens when you feel like you're over giving, or what happens when you feel like it's not even, like you're not receiving and it's not reciprocated in the way that you would love? How do you know if you're over giving to the point where it's detrimental to the relationship and really detrimental to yourself? That's what we're going to be exploring today. So we're going to first talk about 3 ways that you know if you're overgiving, that are signs that you might not be giving from the right space that contribute to overgiving. And then we'll set up, how do you actually receive in a way that's healthy? How can you create a pattern in your relationship where giving and receiving is done freely and openly, and it's bringing the two of you even closer together? So the first question you want to ask yourself, and am I an overgiver in this relationship, is this: am I giving with strings attached? See, so many of us in relationships, what was modeled for us as in our parents, or what we learned growing up, was that if you want to receive something, you give it first. And so you end up, washing the dishes, and you're really hoping that the next time the other person is going to wash the dishes, or you're giving a gift to the other person, hoping that they're going to give it back to you, or you plan a date really hoping because you planned it this time, they're going to plan it next time. In other words, you're giving with a scorecard. And in the back of your mind, you've got this scorecard of all the times that you've given and the lack of giving that's coming back. Which leads me to the second question, which is, have you asked for what it is that you want? See, people aren't mind readers. Men don't speak hint. And so if you want something and you haven't verbalized it yet, the chances of you getting it are nil. In fact, and my wife knows this, and she practices this, and she had a good laugh earlier this week because I came down and we were getting the kids ready for school, and she's making breakfast, and I'm doing the girls' hair, and we're packing lunches, and we're doing all this stuff. And I came down and I was a little bit slower to kind of get out the things that I normally get out. And I was grabbing my protein drink. I had just come back from the gym, and I was getting that ready, and I hear her over on the stove let out this big sigh, like, and like, the sigh that I'm talking about. It's like something's wrong with this. Like, this is frustration exiting her body. And I said, are you frustrated about something? And I knew, I was like, am I not doing something that I should be doing right now? And she was like, yes, I just thought that you would just jump in and help me and grab the bowls right out of the counter and grab this and that. And she caught herself, and she was like, and I'm frustrated with myself because I'm not asking you for what I want. She was like, I know better. I shouldn't just expect you to read my mind. And I said, what would you like? Let me jump in. And she described what she wanted, and I jumped in and helped. But nobody's going to read your mind. If you want something, you've got to be willing to be direct and ask. So have you asked for the things that you want, and the person's not giving those to you? Or is this a symptom of not asking at all? So in a moment, I'm going to share with you a beautiful way to set yourself up so there's a beautiful cycle of giving and receiving in the relationship. But let's talk about this third sort of premise for giving that can be destructive. And that is giving because it's trying to satiate an underlying fear. And what that means is that you're giving because you're scared if you don't, the relationship's going to dissolve. So you overgive, you overcompensate because there's a fear that the person's going to leave because ultimately you're not enough. There's this internal belief that you're not enough, so you're compensating and you're doing all this giving and all this extra stuff for the person. While the gift, the action, the service, whatever it is that you're contributing to the relationship is nice, the energy that is coming from a place of scarcity. And fear begets fear. Scarcity begets scarcity. It's a constrictive energy. If you want the relationship to blossom, you want it to expand, you've got to be coming from this centered place of love. Knowing that, look, if he's not the right person for you and he wants to leave because that you expect there to be a reciprocal participation in giving and receiving, then that's not the right partner for you if you're worried that that person's going to leave. The work is to be done on the inside. You are worthy of love. You are worthy of an equal partner who's both going to be giving and receiving in the relationship, is you're giving and receiving in the relationship. So let me share with you 3 concepts that can really foster a nice balance of both giving in the relationship, because love is in the act of service and the act of giving, but it also opens up the channels for receiving so your partner feels free to give back to you. And the first concept is to know what you need. Know what you need, know what you want. What's your level of self-awareness? Because oftentimes we can kind of get into a habit or a way of being. And you're just like, I just got to get this done and that done and this done and that done. And you're not even aware that, gosh, you know what, in this moment, I could really use some help. Or today, I could really use somebody else doing this errand or dropping this off or doing the dishes for me. Knowing what you need or knowing what you really would love and want is the first step, because at that point, then you can make a clear request. And so a great practice is to several times throughout the days to take a nice deep breath in and just check in with yourself and say, what is it that I really need right now? Or what is it that would really serve me right now? And then becoming aware of that. And in fact, there's a great tool. There's a game that you can get called Grok. And Grok is a beautiful game that educates people about their emotions and about their needs. And it comes from this whole book on nonviolent communication, which I absolutely love. But this game called Grok, if you want to know what is it that I need right now, you want to get more in touch with that, you want to get more familiar with what your needs might be, what your wants might be, and what your emotions are, get that game and you can begin to explore those, and it makes you really crystal clear, like, oh, I'm really needing some time away right now. Like, I'm really needing some cave time, some time to just isolate and recuperate. Or, oh, I'm really needing connection right now. Or, oh, I'm really needing certainty right now to kind of know what's going on. You might find yourself stressed, you don't even know why, and then you realize, oh, I don't know what the next 3 days, how the two of us are going to connect in this relationship, and you didn't even know that that was a stressor in the background. So becoming aware of your needs is a beautiful first step, and then being able to communicate and get those needs met. Step number 2 is to reframe your relationship with receiving. Now, you may have a beautiful relationship with receiving. There's no problem with receiving, and you're fully willing to receive if only you would give. Or you might be the kind of person where you were taught to view receiving help, receiving support, asking for help, asking for support as weakness, as that you're not strong enough, that you're not enough, you're not smart enough or strong enough, or you don't have it all together. So because why else would you need support or need to ask for help? When that's completely false. In fact, the most successful people on the planet are the best at empowering others to serve them. Think about that for a moment. The most successful people, the most successful relationships are ones that know how to communicate needs for one another and allow themselves to be served. They empower, they believe in the capability of the other person to say, no, this person can get this done and I'm willing to accept the help and support. So reframing your relationship with receiving, that it's not weakness and it doesn't mean that you're not enough, but it's actually a sign that you are an empowered and empowering partner in this relationship. And then step number 3 is really the final step in this, from that place of empowered energy and from knowing what it is that you want, then just to be direct and ask for what you would want. And a great opening line is, would you be willing? Would you be willing to do this for me? Hey, there's something that I would really love. Would you be willing to grab the bowl, grab the plate, take out the garbage, wash the dishes, whatever it is? No, tell me what the plan is next week. Sit down so that we can have a planning meeting. Or would you be willing to have a date night this weekend? Whatever it is that you're needing, to ask, would you be willing? Can you do this is an okay question, but it's a bit of a lower vibration question, because can you actually brings into question the capability of the other person. But would you be willing is a much higher vibration question. So get in touch with your needs and your wants. Be clear on those. Reframe the relationship with receiving so it feels as an empowered thing that you're doing, and then be direct and ask for what you would want. And you will notice very, very clearly whether or not you're in the right relationship, because the right man is going to respond to you and is actually going to feel joy in doing so. The wrong man is going to have no behavior change. And so my question for you is, how do you know when you're overgiving in the relationship? I'd love to hear your insights. Go ahead and post those in the comment section below. And know this, I believe in you. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon.